Does the amendment be agreed to? As many as are that amendment say content. Contrary not content, let's have it. Amendment 2, Lord Morris of Manchester.
My Lords, my Lords, I beg to move this amendment to clause 6, which accepts the delegated powers and Regulatory Reform Committee's suggestions that in relation to clauses 2 and 4 of the bill, the affirmative procedure should apply as now provided for in my amendment. I entirely accept the committee's view and beg to move.
Amendment proposed, page 4, line 5, leave out subsection 1 and insert the word as printed. Question, if this amendment be agreed to, as many as are that amendment say content. Contrary not content, let's have it.
My Lords, I beg to move the privilege amendment.
The question is, the privilege amendment be agreed to, as many as are that amendment say content. Contrary not content, let's have it.
My Lords, I beg to move that this bill do now pass.
Question is, bill do now pass.
My Lords, I think it would be wrong to allow this moment to pass without a tribute to my noble friend Lord Morris. It wouldn't be the first tribute that he's received in a long and distinguished career, but without him there would have been no inquiry, no recommendations, and no bill, and no debate. And my Lords, perhaps I should add that we ought to include a tribute to the noble Baroness Lady Masham, who has given unstinting service over a very long period of time to those who have suffered in this way. My Lords, having intervened at this stage, perhaps I should declare an interest. The purpose of the bill is to implement certain recommendations. I was privileged to chair the inquiry which made those recommendations. And, my Lords, it's certainly not my intention at this stage in our proceedings to embark on an embellishment of them. But perhaps I may be allowed to assure your Lordships that we didn't overlook the fact that this is not the ideal moment to press the government for further expenditure. What we did have very much in mind is that those we were discussing have suffered a shattering tragedy, as my noble friend said a few moments ago, of proportions which it's difficult to envisage. And one of the consequences, just one, is that many of them are now suffering severe financial embarrassment. Lords, I believe that it is the test of any country, whether when times are hard, the burden falls on those who have already suffered or who are most vulnerable. And that, I believe, is what is on trial today. So I believe that this is a very, very important bill, not only for those whom it's intended to benefit, but because it is a test of the priorities of our community.
I'm permitted to associate myself with everything that noble Lord Archer has said about Lord Morris and Baroness Masham. But I think I should not let this moment go without paying tribute to Lord Archer himself for the way in which he marshalled the evidence and produced a highly influential report, which we hope in due course will lead to some justice for those who have been damaged, inadvertently perhaps, but damaged by the state.
My Lords, I'm most grateful to my noble and learned friend. All the recommendations of his independent public inquiry into the contaminated blood disaster are embraced by the bill, and again I commend him and his colleagues in the inquiry team, including the Admirable Dr. Norman Jones and Judith Willett, on the excellence of their report. My Lords, I warmly acknowledge also today all the help given to me in promoting the bill by Sarah Jones in the Public Bill Office of your Lordship's House. She couldn't possibly have been more helpful, and the haemophilia community joins me in paying high tribute to the constancy of her support. Many other officials of the House have hastened the passage of this important measure, and the haemophilia community is much indebted, feels much indebted to them. I've been highly fortunate as well in the backing for the bill of noble lords in all parts of this House, and I know noble lords will understand why that my noble friends, Lord Corbett of Castle Vale and Lord Rooker, have been so important to me. My noble friends would want, I know, to join me in paying tribute to noble lords all across the House who've put enormous effort into speeding the bill's passage. They include, of course, the noble and learned Lord, Lord Thomas of Gresford, the noble lady Baroness Morris of Bolton, and of course my dear and inspirational friend, Baroness Campbell of Surbiton. They would all want to join me in appreciating the role of my noble friend, Lady Thornton, whose awareness of the depth and anguish and despair in the haemophilia community is well understood all across the House. My Lords, my final words now, final words in this debate are about the ministerial statement made last week by Mike O'Brien as Minister of State at the Department of Health on the victims of the thalidomide disaster. And I'm grateful to him for his kindly references to my role in achieving the original settlement. The public apology made by the government and the announcement of new help for the surviving thalidomiders must very strongly support the case for the government now to endorse the provisions of this bill. That's not only my view, but that of everyone I have heard commenting publicly on the measure. My Lords, I beg to move.
Question is bill do now pass. As many as are that in say content. Contrary not content, the consents have it.